said YouTube. Whatever.
Okay. I'll ask you later how you know that.
That's just like.
And pop.
Starting soon.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Maybe.
Starting. Okay. I'll ask you later how you know that.
That's just like.
And pop.
Starting soon.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Maybe.
Starting. Okay. I'll ask you later how you know that.
Starting soon.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Maybe.
Yes.
Starting soon.
Wait for it. Wait for
You're gonna do FamiLAB.
That's a long move.
Wait for it.
Okay, you got it.
Not wait for it.
I don't want to.
Turn it back on in case anyone needs it.
So
Yeah, you're okay.
I don't know if it's okay or not. It's good enough though.
What's your day job?
It's not doing video.
Oh, that's right. That's my day job.
It's totally fair. It's almost done catching up.
I'll deal with it. Yeah, I'll deal with it.
Damn it, day job.
Okay.
Okay.
At that point, I should turn it back on then.
So, welcome to our August meeting.
Yay.
Thank you. To those of you who this is your first time, I'm sorry, but we'll try to get this thing as quick as possible.
Turn it back on.
So, welcome.
I don't know.
We'll figure it out in a minute.
It's so much a room full of tech people.
The more tech people there are in a room, the less likely this tech is to work.
That's very true.
Have you ever been to a tech conference before?
Oh yeah.
It's not pretty. They're terrible. It's the worst. You go to like a financial conference though, and it's perfect. All right.
Because they're not doing anything interesting.
So, quick update from our treasurer. She has some updates.
Right. He's significantly less than 2-minute finances. Since the last meeting, we added 4 members. We lost 2, 1 to moving and 1 to a PayPal glitch. We brought in about $140 from classes, Fusion, Soldering, Machine Shop 101, and a donation from one of the Python classes, so thank you, teachers. And as the minutes say, we are not broke. We are actually holding really steady around the same point we were last time, which actually kind of worries me a touch because we're not picking up a ton, but we're not in the red and life is good. And now back to my letter.
The other thing that is marginally worrying, but also remember that as we add more members, our expenses keep increasing as well. And we just came off the most expensive power bills that I've ever seen in my entire life from this summer.
And now it's on its way back down, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank God.
You know, what was our high score? Like $1,200? It was like $1,200 just for the power. So conserve where you can.
Don't like kill yourselves with heat in the warehouse, but
you know.
If you think you're the last person in the lab, please walk around, turn things off. Make sure doors are locked. Please.
Because here's the thing, it's not just money. That money can then be used to buy other cool things and stuff. So FYI.
The warehouse lights, the big overhead lights in the warehouse, they use a lot of power gauge.
I think it's like 2,400 or 3,600 watts to have the big warehouse lights on.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you can use spotlighting in a given area, or you can turn on the LEDs, the 2 or 3 of them that still work. Please do that. Like you'll see me out in the machine shop working on the house or something, and you're like, "Hey Nick, why are you out here in the dark?" That's why, because I don't need to pull 3.5 kilowatts of power.
Yeah.
But at the same time, be safe. Don't work in the dark if it's unsafe. You know, make sure that you can see what you're doing, and you're not going to chop off your hands.
Bringing oil.
Safety.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of lights in the warehouse on all the time. What's up with that?
The LEDs?
The lights that are always on the warehouse that don't seem to be connected to the
LEDs.
The little white one.
Yeah, there's a separate switch for that over near the circuit panel over there.
So there is a switch for it, but you don't want anyone to touch it.
No,
it's in a different place.
Over here.
And
Those
then-
are LEDs. They pull a lot less power. You
Okay.
can turn them off. There's a switch over by the power panel.
But it's not necessary to turn those off.
They might draw 50 or 100 watts. I usually leave them on so that you can actually see where you're going, because the little motion sensor lights are intermittent at best or blinding at worst.
When you go out there though, at the end don't turn them off, when you're going home if you're the only one here.
You can,
Your call. I don't care.
You can turn them off if you want to.
Yes.
but those are much less of a concern.
Reduce reuse.
There is always fans running all which direction. The leather working area, the fan's always on.
Those are so
Turn
low
those off?
power. I mean, yes, everything adds up, but certain low power devices like that, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's when they're starting to draw 3,000 and 4,000 watts when they're on. That's when it really matters.
We want to go through and turn everything off, you can.
Yes. But
Okay.
exactly, if you want to turn everything off, you can.
But it is acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
Don't sweat the small stuff.
there's always a fan running up there, right up there
Tiny fans
somewhere.
don't
Yeah,
Above the place?
that's because that keeps our servers cool. If it doesn't, our servers will melt.
The AC and the overhead lights are big powerful.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna learn, if you're in the metal area and it's really hot, instead of the AC, use a giant squirrel fan hanging from the ceiling. Cause that helps so much.
Yeah, in the middle here, right on the bar.
Yeah, you can swing that around. to
Yeah,
point it
Yeah.
anywhere.
that's why I put in the bar.
What is the bill range?
The range, our high was 1,200. Our low is what, 6?
Well, that depends on the season, that depends on the number of occupants. It's been recently mostly in the 750 to 850 range, but it's the middle of the summer. And it's steadily climbed up to this point, and the last one was actually on the way back down, so we might be through the hard part for this year.
Yeah.
In the winter, we might see as low as 600, but with the number of people we've got now, I'm not gonna hold my breath. I would probably say 700 or 800 is like nominal.
When we moved in, it was 600.
While we're here, any more questions for Treasury? While I'm sitting here? I'll be floating around. Yes? You don't count. But go ahead.
If I teach a class and I charge money for it, where does the money go?
So half comes to us right there, less event rate fees. And then the other half, if you so choose, either can go to you, or you can choose to go to the area of your choosing at lab, where you can just say, hey, all of it goes to lab. So like Machine Shop 101, that has gone towards improving the metal shop and getting bits and pieces for all the stuff people keep breaking, et cetera, and so on. And then some teachers have put it towards their membership dues, but yeah, half, roughly.
Yes.
So not a question, just to make people aware of that. The air conditioning back there, and the air conditioning right here, the switchboard and whatnot, we're welcome to use it. However, something about if you're always using it, feel free to give an extra fee or something. Anyways, just for you guys to mention that, since you're on the verge of talking about power consumption.
Yeah, if you want to give us extra money, if you're here like every day of the week and using the shop and the air conditioner, you want to toss a couple extra bucks our way, that's fine too. We have people who do. So yeah. Cool. All right, moving on, if there are no further financial questions. This is our 5 minutes of fame, which we don't have on the board because it disappeared. So this is our show and tell. Tim emailed me earlier to ask if you could do a little short show and tell. So you're first then.
Yay,
Tim!
After the swivel stool, though, you had to just spin around on constantly.
We've got a couple of those.
I think it's currently being used to support laptop.
So when I made the stream, I screwed it up, and so it's one direction only. So it's just us broadcasting. It's not interactive.
Got it.
So that's why that's also a delay.
There are worse things.
You might want to just make a note in Slack if you have any questions, just to Slack one of us. Sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
Sorry. I made this.
Woo!
Yay!
No, I didn't. Most of you know I make beef jerky.
Yep.
And for the past couple years, I've been demonstrating how to make and selling jerky at the local, or at the Orlando Makers Fair. This year, I'm going to do something a little different. And basically, I'm going to kick off a crowdfunding campaign. A lot more nervous than I thought I was going to be.
We're all your friends. That's
We don't
okay.
bite
We're all in underwear.
Don't
I'm
imagine,
allowed to-
don't
How
imagine
many
us
of you-
naked or in our underwear. You don't want to see
How many
that.
of you have eaten Tim's meat?
Tim hasn't brought me any meat
How many of you hated it?
I don't think it was spicy enough.
He's working on that. His wife won't let him make the spicy stuff home anymore.
So for my crowdfunding campaign, I've got a little script for the video I'd like to read for everybody, and then I'll tell you a little bit about where I'm at, what I'm trying to do. It all started with one of these, as seen on TV food dehydrator. My name is Tim, aka Uncle Bo, and about 20 years ago, a friend of mine, or a friend of the family, gave us one of these. My first thought was, yes, I get to make my own beef jerky. So using the recipe that came with the unit, I made my first batch, and it was terrible. I have to say, it tasted worse than store-bought. But being the foodie I am, I knew I could do better. So 6 months and hundreds of batches later, I had a jerky with a very unique umami flavor profile, which is now known as Uncle Bo's recipe. Even with 7 or 8 of these units on my counter running every day, it was never enough. I needed to go bigger, so I bought a commercial dehydrator. With this, I am able to make 10 to 12 pounds of jerky at a time. Surely that would be enough. Then I started selling at local farmers markets, working around my full-time day job, and with the help of my nieces and nephew and a few of the rest of my family, I could make and package about 40 pounds of jerky during the work week. Then I'd spend the weekends at farmers markets selling it. I couldn't keep up, I was getting exhausted, and I had a pregnant wife who I wanted to spend more time with. I had to find a way to speed up production so I could spend time with my growing family. Then my dehydrator blew up. Yep, that's right, poof. I had been invited to the Maker Fair at the Orlando Science Center to demonstrate the jerky making process. I had specified the power requirements of my dryer, but when I turned it on, it went up in smoke, pun intended. This completely shut down my jerky production. I couldn't afford a new machine, so with the help of my local maker community, we set out to rebuild my dehydrator. During this rebuilding phase, I began looking for co-workers / jerky manufacturers that could make my jerky using my recipes and my procedures. And I found one. And they're ready to take me on as a client. Lost my place.
Take me on as a client.
Not only will they make my jerky for me, but they can do it and sell it to me at the same price point it costs me to make it myself. On top of that, my jerky will be USDA approved, meaning I'd be able to sell it across state lines and vastly increase my customer base. Up to this point, I've perfected 8 custom recipes, created my own labels, established a local fan base, incorporated Uncle Bo's as an LLC, registered my trademarks, even made my own t-shirts. I'm ready to take it to the next level. To do that, each one of my recipes have to go through a USDA submittal and testing process. This is where I need your help. The cost to put all 8 flavors into production would be about $16,000. My plan is to just raise enough money to submit 2 or 3 batches at a time. So please pray for me and my family, and if you feel led, click the donate button and help me get Uncle Bo's on a shelf near you. Thank you and God bless. So that's pretty much where I'm at. Each one of my recipes have to be turned over. I have a non-disclosure agreement to keep my recipes protected. Along with that, I'll have to, every batch will have to be, test batches will have to be made because upscaling it to that kind of production is going to change some things. And then that'll have to be submitted to the USDA for analyzation to get nutritional label, packaging approval, and all that for the USDA so I can get their stamp on my bag. And then I'll be able to sell across state lines. So, any questions?
Yeah, did you mean that it was $16,000 per recipe or?
$16,000 total, so about $2,000 per recipe.
For
So-
testing and approval.
So it would be to get the first 2 or 3 batch or flavors into production. I'm looking to raise about $5,000 to $6,000. Yes.
Don't say that it's healthy, and the FDA will totally approve it.
Yes, there is some truth to that. Part of my campaign is I do have future goals, and that is to get gluten-free labeling which costs extra money. Getting 100% natural costs extra money, even though my product already is. To say that on your label requires more testing to prove it so I can say it. So all of that takes extra money, so I'm starting slow, starting low, and will grow as I can. Any other questions? Yes?
Yeah, which time frame? Once.
I want to actually launch the campaign the weekend of Maker Faire and run to the end of November.
Okay.
I was hoping to get into full production by the end of this year, but it's just not going to happen. Any other questions?
Can I add something?
Yeah.
One of the reasons we wanted to show and tell here is we wanted to basically get help, advice from people who've done crowdfunding before. Has anyone in this room done crowdfunding at all?
So Shay's not here right now, but Shay would be a good person.
Yeah, definitely talk to Shay Silver.
A helpful tip is go to the places where you've sold the most so far. If people like it, people still buy it. People will always buy it. They want to buy more of it.
Well, I keep getting requests to go back to the farmers markets where I was, although right now I'm out of production. I have a few bags left, but I don't have enough to actually go to a farmers market. I'm looking for a kitchen to get back into production. I would love to be able to get all 8 flavors packaged and ready to sell at the Maker's Faire. I'm just not sure it's going to be able to happen in this short of a time frame.
So I don't really have help for the Kickstarter of it all, but if you go to places that you sell it, and put like a little QR code for your Kickstarter, like maybe on the vending machine if you ask Josh nicely.
Spread the word by.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking about doing at the Maker's Faire, is be able to say, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm heading, have those QR codes there so they can scan them. And on top of the perks that are going to be part of the campaign, if somebody actually scans and donates while they're at the Maker Faire, and I can look it up and validate it, they'll get an extra bag of jerky right then and there on top of their perks that'll come later.
Cool. Not a member, but it's just a question for you. Could you maybe do some pre-sales at that show? Like, for example, I'll give you a discount if you buy some today because I'm in production for more, and you could actually get some actual cash right there to maybe buy another machine.
If I can get into a kitchen to make some, yes. The kitchen I normally use it's been taken over completely now. I can't share the kitchen with the guy I was sharing it with before. He's gone into full production there with his products, and so I don't have a kitchen to make it out of. That
you can't make it at home. Would you be able to?
Oh, my machine is actually fixed and running now. That's not the issue. It's just having a certified kitchen, an inspected kitchen that I can go in and make. And I mean, back in the day, I used to make it at home all the time. Didn't have a big dog then. I've thought about making it at home again, but I've seen my dog, when he shakes, it's a cloud of dog hair that just floats. It's not a good thing.
All natural.
Extra fiber.
Extra protein.
Yeah, it's the same thing you have to do with food trucks. You have to have a kitchen.
Yeah. You have to have a commissary. Yeah. So
We could make samples, but not to sell.
I will definitely have some samples at the Maker's Faire. And whatever product I have right now will be for sale at the Maker's Faire, but it's very limited.
Make sure you tag your existing product with the Kickstarter information, just in as much as at least the sticky note on it.
That's a good idea.
We do have a member who specializes in labels.
Cool.
Is that it?
Thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you.
I have something. Unless someone else wants to go first. Aaron's first. I take the chair first. All right. So, how many of you have ever attended, or have heard of, or have exhibited at a Maker Faire? Okay. How many of you have no idea what it is? You guys are liars. How many of you plan to exhibit this year at Maker Faire? Of any way, Power Wheels or anything whatsoever? How many of you have registered to exhibit?
No, that's different than our.
The volunteers. Yeah, no, if you actually show how you have you registered. Okay, Cool.
So I
So
click send on my registration.
you did. Of FamiLAB. So the entirety of FamiLAB's representation at Maker Faire right now exists with Tim and John Coe.
John, who's John?
John's not here tonight, I don't think. So if you would like to register for Maker Faire, please do it. If you are even on the fence, just go ahead and do it. And in the registration, you can say that you're with FamiLAB. There's a section for that.
I think Mike was gonna go into a lot of the Maker Faire stuff.
Yes.
How are you?
Later on.
Okay. Yeah, I was just reminded again. I was reminded again by multiple people to please, for the love of all things holy, I didn't see it on the agenda.
Yeah, so.
I have that question.
So you can
Sure.
continue from there. Yeah.
This year, I'm not gonna be doing the full production of jerky, so I don't need the same
Oh, it is on there. I'm sorry.
power requirements and everything that I had last year. Do you want me, or would it be cool for having my booth next to FamiLAB booth and be part of the same?
We could probably do that.
Join the party.
Is it?
Yeah, that'd be great. Absolutely. Yeah, we can do that.
I think all the family will buy all of your jerky before.
It's the only thing that eats for 3 days.
That Friday night setup starvation, yeah, it'll all be on.
Yeah, so Maker Faire.
Yeah.
Maker Faire is hurtling towards us at 3,600 seconds per hour.
How many days?
I don't remember.
It's like 74 days.
74.
We're down to like
Yeah.
70. It's a whole lot closer.
70.
Right now.
So tick, I say. If you've been following announcements on the channel, you've seen that Nick's been putting up announcements. I just put one up again today for volunteer sessions at the fair. Remember, if you volunteer for a couple of hours, you're in the show for the day. So
What kind of volunteering are we talking about?
Slave labor.
yeah, basically. Well, I mean, there's basically the main thing we need are people who can be at the booth, who can be at the FamiLAB booth, and talk about whatever it is they already do, right? So-
talk about the lab. You do a lot of woodworking stuff. Chat about the woodworking area. Talk about 3D printing. Talk about whatever you know
Talk
about.
about your
Right.
cosplay.
But there's also,
So bring your stuff.
And if you want to float, there's a general in there as well.
and there's a lot of spots in there for like loading in and loading out, and because we'll need to help.
I don't have
Yes,
I'm not gonna be able to set up for a booth or whatnot, but I could probably volunteer at the family.
Yeah.
table.
Legit.
that'd be great.
Show up and then you can walk around there for the rest of the day for free.
I don't need help at the weather tables.
Oh, then I'll come with you.
Yeah.
I'll come with you.
So
Still
so
sign up, though.
everybody, you know, if you're doing this, make sure if you're gonna bring something to the FamiLAB table, please let me know. If you're gonna bring something to the FamiLAB table, please register as a maker. Even though you're gonna be part of FamiLAB, register as a maker as well. That lets them know how many tables we need. Because the more people we get doing stuff, the more tables we'll get that we have room to do stuff.
Also, if you are registering multiple unique items, so like for instance,
Spicy
Macrutan. No, like Macrutan, for instance, usually brings like a musical instrument thing and a Raspberry Pi thing and a this thing and a that thing. He registers them all individually under one maker, and we want that as well. So if you're like, oh, I'm going to show off 16 things, and I'm just the one person, I only have to register once. Well, yeah, but if you put 16 things in there, it makes their numbers look a lot better and makes it more appetizing for advertisers and people wanting to give them money.
And it helps us know how many tables we need.
That too, because if you say, well, I'm bringing 16 things, but I need 3 8-foot tables, well, we need to know that.
Yeah. So it's not too late yet, but now's the time. Now's the time to be thinking about it. We also have for Friday and Sunday, we need to get stuff to Maker Faire, get stuff from Maker Faire. Typically, what we do is we stage everything here. We get a big truck. We load all the stuff into the truck. We take it to Maker Faire. We unload the truck. It's pretty easy, but we need a bunch of people to do that. And actually, right now, I'm also looking for a truck driver to make sure that we've got multiple. I'll be one. We need to get a couple more. So again, same thing. There are shifts available in the spreadsheet for that. Please sign up for those. Also, Saturday night we're going to be doing an open house here, a hospitality thing. So if you're available in the evening on Saturday and want to be here and help us show off the space, that would be fantastic. It'll be basically like our Tuesday night open houses, except that we're going to get a bunch of people from all over the area instead of the people that we usually get. So it's always a lot of fun, and
we had over 100 people here last year.
Yeah, and we definitely need the help. So this is my plea. Please sign up. We'll actually have a computer here after the meeting. If you want to talk about it and sign up for shifts, we'll get you going.
Please don't break it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is that open house the same weekend as usual?
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be
So it's
Saturday
Saturday
evening
night.
after Maker Faire closes for the day. We're going to be out here showing off the lab, and then Sunday morning back to Maker Faire.
So yeah, you sign up as the laptop comes around. Put your name in the column on the left. Click the drop down on 1 to 4 of the columns on the right, and pick where you're volunteering for and when.
Yeah.
So you can pick one. You can pick all 4. I recommend 1 or 2. If everybody splits it up and everyone just does 1 or 2, then we only have to. But if we only had 5 to 10 people running all of FamiLAB stuff for Maker Faire, we're gonna be deep. We'll be up 72 hours that weekend, like has happened once or twice in the past.
Yeah.
So it's very important that everybody just does a little bit so that we can all enjoy the event and it's not stressful.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be stressful. We're gonna be freaking out.
Yeah.
What? If I sign up to volunteer, do I have to pick a specific thing to do, or can I just say?
There's a general in there. It's at the bottom of the list. So just the main thing is to let me know that you're going to be there and when.
What if we're so awesome that we can't fit into our columns?
Then talk to me, and I'll get your collar fitted. No problem.
Wasn't there a conversation about that earlier today?
The 21st and 22nd.
If you're like, man, FamiLab's cool, but I don't want to do FamiLab booth stuff. That seems dumb and lame.
Yeah, you guys are lame.
You can always sign up with Maker Faire proper as a volunteer, but you'll be put somewhere doing something for the same
I need to add solder
thing. If you also we need soldering volunteers. So if you want to teach people how to solder,
teach 3-year-olds
just
not
put your name on the list and just put it down as general or whatever. For now.
What I will say is volunteering at the soldering booth is hot.
That was so funny.
Yes.
What does that mean, volunteer for soldering?
To teach soldering.
To teach soldering to people over the course of the day.
It's a really simple project that you're showing a bunch of people between 3 and up.
3 and 300, I think.
Well, I meant like 8.
That's what I meant.
What kind of soldering is it? Like full metal, or is it just electronics?
Electronics.
It's electronics. It's an itty bitty. I've got one of the pins floating around here somewhere. It's a little blinky robot pin.
I saw
With LED eyes. It takes 5 minutes. You'll have the spiel
Hey, you
memorized.
get the
about half an
laptop.
hour.
Sign up now.
You do the exact same thing over and over and over, and everyone is extremely delighted and excited, and will come back and make multiple pins.
If you like seeing joy and glee on people's faces,
Or burns on my hands.
it would be, or both at the same time. It would be a good place for you to volunteer.
I was the only injury last year.
I'd like to say that a couple of years ago, we went to the Maker Faire with a couple of my adult children, and they paid like $2 increase and went in and did that learn how to solder thing, and we're all excited. And my youngest boy went on Craigslist and $20 and bought a 1-2-inch flat screen TV that they said needed this part. And for I think $6 or $8 shook, we got the part, and I helped him desolder. We soldered that. He's been using that TV ever since.
Nice.
It's all because of that soldering.
Actually, a great demo. It's for bring dead monitors into the
There's a take it apart section usually,
Yeah, that'll be here again.
and it's just kids destroying stuff.
It'll probably be in the same area as combat robotics.
Yeah.
Take it apart will probably be in the same video as combat robotics.
Oh, yeah, we can help with that.
I know. Just put whatever it is, put a printer in the middle of the arena and
Take the toner out.
The other thing is also, as I said before, we're particularly looking for woodworking projects. Right now, we're looking for electronics projects. I don't have anybody who's told me that they're bringing that except Cope.
I'm gonna have my lightsabers with me if that's all right.
That'd be great. Okay, so let me know and let me know in the.
Yeah, I'll talk to you afterwards.
Well, I mean, the main thing is get it into the Maker Faire Slack, so that I can compile a list.
I will do that after.
And remember to register as an independent maker with an independent project.
Yes.
I will do that after the meeting.
Sweet.
Oh, this is okay.
That's basically it. It's gonna be loads of fun.
Initial deadline, by the way, is the 31st. If you wait till the 31st, you will have people that will hate you. If you wait till after that, they're going to scold you very much.
The 31st of this month?
Yes.
But you'll still get it.
Even if you don't have a completely, that's not necessarily true. That they have already approved over 150 makers, so there's only been 2 from FamiLAB.
We need to fix that.
So we're the least represented hackerspace in the state of Florida right now.
We need to change that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're also.
I'm sorry, what was that?
They have already approved over 150 makers for Maker Faire this year.
Okay.
And FamiLAB is the least represented hackerspace or makerspace in all of Florida so far.
Wow. And where are the producers?
The producers are members of this space, yes.
So we need to fix that.
Yeah.
Like, so we signed up our power bill store yet?
No.
Okay, we'll just start on.
See, I'm just as actually, I'm not free of guilt.
So like I said, it's not too late, but now is the time. Now is the time to get your
Or does it need to be?
What?
Does power racing as a whole need to be there, or
Every
Each car.
They know about it.
Just
Each car.
got it?
Yeah.
Other
So
Maker
yeah,
Faire
so
projects.
definitely, and if you have questions, comments, you want to do something weird, you can't figure out how to make the form work, talk to me, or come up or use the Slack Maker Faire channel. That's where all the discussion's going to happen. So.
And remember, things like art and painting and cosplay are all, and food are all maker things.
Totally count. Your makers.
No.
Catherine's chocolates, yo.
Only fresh food, nothing dehydrated or,
Oh, she's gonna do that this year.
Yes.
Need somebody to cook my chocolate. My turkey.
October 21st, 22nd.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the Saturday and Sunday.
Just before Halloween.
Yes. You got a question?
Oh, you're done with the laptop, the back row back here.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
Okay.
it'll keep bouncing.
I'm not sure anybody over here does yet.
so I skipped ahead a little bit for Maker Faire. So I think I'm sorry about that.
That's
I didn't
no
see it on
problem.
the list.
There's
Let's see.
only-
Right here.
There's only one other thing.
There's one other thing.
If we're doing our own project at the Maker Faire, we should be signing up as a volunteer. Or
But you can do both.
Yeah, you can do both.
But what Shay did, since he's gonna have his 5-play table, he put his name there with 5-play table and left it blank. That way there's still an idea of how to organize stuff.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to do that, that's great.
But as it comes closer to Maker Faire time, what the Maker Faire staff does, they give us a list of everyone who registered that said they were with FamiLAB, and they said, "Here's all the people who registered. I hope everyone's represented."
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there any fee associated with actually doing a project at Maker Faire?
If you're just exhibiting, that means you're not selling anything. There is 0 fee. If you are selling anything, the days of the fair,
There's a fee.
there's a fee of $100.
And out of all the people who are doing it for all the maker spaces and whatnot, are any of them actually trying to sell things as well? And if so, are we?
So maker spaces as a whole, like FamiLAB, if we try to sell things at the fair, which I don't think we have anything to sell currently, if we try to sell things, they generally waive for FamiLAB because we're a very large part, generally in the end. Same thing for most other maker spaces. However, if there's an individual maker that is part of the lab that is trying to sell something, they will have to pay the fee.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Okay, so the last thing here, before I go over to upcoming events and new members. Okay, so as all of you know, we are in the process of changing our membership process. Who was not aware that we're changing our membership process? Okay, we're changing it.
Here's your notice.
I have a question. Are
yes.
you changing the membership process?
Yeah, actually. So we're changing it essentially to try to make it easier on the board, easier on our members, and easier on new members and prospectus to get in. We're unsure of the timeline at this point, but because of Maker Faire rapidly approaching, it may not happen until after Maker Faire. However, in the meantime, there is an RFC on our forums. That means request for comments. There are very few posts for as many people as we have who have opinions about the matter. Our current proposal is essentially dropping the voting of new members. So essentially, every new member would not be voted on. They would just introduce, and then eventually they would, then a month later, essentially be activated. The caveat is that instead of having a voting process, we have you get more signatures. Essentially, you get to know more people at the lab. We've talked about 5 signatures, 10 signatures, 3 signatures. The number is varied, but we're kind of leaving it up to you guys to figure out what that process is. The no voting thing is because we have over 110 members, give or take, and only 40 of you can show up for any meeting. So it makes it a little challenging to get everyone's weigh in on items in the process of voting. But by having you get more signatures, you might be in attendance of days that some people aren't here. Like I know members that only show up on Wednesdays and Thursdays, or maybe only on Saturdays. And the idea is to get you have the ability to get exposed to other people who may be able to vouch for you in the process as well. Again, there's a request for comments in the forums. If you haven't visited it yet, please do. It's in the RFC section, which is a members only section. So if you sign up for the forums and you can't see that section, please post a not board. Hey, I can't see the members only section. Let me know. Or let one of us know, we can go and change it and operate it. As for now, and probably through Maker Faire, I don't see the process changing. We might try to change it just before Maker Faire, but we'll see at this point. Things get really crazy around that time. Any questions on that?
Please give us your opinions on the RFC.
Yes.
Please. Don't make me beg.
Me too's count.
Okay, upcoming events. I'm going to run through this list very quickly. There's a lot, and this is just before the next meeting. So there's a LAN party on the 19th. Computer gaming. That's this weekend. Machine Shop 101 again on 8/26. Is that filled up yet?
No, we still have spots available for that.
Okay.
Gee, it's fun.
It fills up very quickly. If you want to learn how to use any machine tools, that's where you need to be. There's a soldering workshop on September the 2nd. Radio and electronics build night. I believe that's also that same night on the 2nd. I'll have to double check.
It's next Friday.
Oh, okay. So we got it. The theater discussion night. That's September the 8th. Weekly machine shop workshop every Friday evening. Laser classes alternating Saturdays, right, Suraj?
Yep.
And the laser is working again if you guys didn't get that memo. Tabletop game day, that's Saturday,
but not all of the Saturdays.
but not all the Saturdays, but some Saturdays.
Which Saturdays? Third Saturday.
The ones that they're
Third Saturdays.
There we go.
It's not the dungeon channel anymore. What is it? Tabletop games. It's not dungeon anymore. Okay. There's a Slack channel for that. DC 407.
That's the last Tuesday.
Last Tuesday.
It's either fourth or last.
So that's next Tuesday, right? Yep. And then Raspberry Jam FamiLAB.
Also a Saturday.
That's also a Saturday. There's an RC meetup that's on Tuesdays.
Is
What?
this upcoming one offsite?
I think so. Don't quote me. I looked
Okay,
at the meetup.
I'll double check.
I think it's offsite.
If you have questions, you
Just
just
FYI.
okay. There's an RC meetup that's generally on what, Saturdays and Tuesdays.
Sundays
Sunday.
and Tuesdays.
Sundays and Tuesdays. And of course, second Saturday multimedia on the second Saturday.
It's 7.
Cool. So a lot of events, and if there are any additional that we need to add to our calendar, please let us know in the events and classes channel on Slack. All right, new members. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
Thank
new
you, Dustin.
members.
That's correct. I'll remove it from the calendar for the 26th. Then they come back to us for September, the Raspberry Pi.
Cool. Maybe just make a mention on our calendar. It's offsite.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. All right. They are in no particular order. Asia, please come into the center of the room. Tell us about yourself, why you want to be a member of FamiLAB, how you heard about us.
Natalie just told me that she put me on the list, so.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
We
I'm
don't
just
like
gonna
much,
give you
promise.
what I have. Okay, so hi, my name is Asia Hall. I am the owner of Neon Cowboys. So basically, I run a startup that sells illuminated cowboy hats that are lined with 10 feet of yellow wires. So they look like neon signs. And people wear them to like parties, events, concerts, music festivals, just like an environment enhancer kind of thing. So yeah, I want to be a part of FamiLAB. I have visited, I guess, a year ago, and then just getting new to Orlando, I haven't really been around. But Natalie and I are now working on a new project through Apala, and so you know, she's kind of brought me back into the circle, and we've been working out of this room, I think like once a week the past 2-3 weeks. Love the lab. Would love to get to know the CNC machine, the vacuum form, soldering, of course, and yeah, I mean, that's me.
Very cool.
Questions or is
All right.
like?
No, it's a couple questions. So
Okay.
we'll take a couple questions.
What do you want to teach us?
Huh.
That's an easy
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I have lots to teach, I guess. I do a lot of entrepreneurial classes that I teach. I speak at Wholesale and UCF every once in a while with their Blackstone Launchpad. So yeah, business or I don't know. I have a CS degree. I don't know.
Ooh, right on.
Yeah.
Eric was first.
Throughout your lifetime, what has been your greatest inspiration?
My family. My family for sure. My family's like a family of, we're just really tight and we're close knit and they're all designers and so, and business owners. And so we kind of have cultivated this, like, I don't know, cult or something of like these creatives that are pushing each other. And yeah, they're huge.
Be aware if you join, we are also electrical.
I know.
But what's wrong?
What do you mean by like?
My question is, do you have a favorite fandom or favorite author or something that you would like? Oh, I'm such a
What's your
so and so nerd.
Oh yeah, really into video games. But yeah, that's like it's hard to like pledge allegiance to like one thing. I grew up really loving Harvest Moon, and so out of the state, I'm gonna throw way back. But yeah, video games for sure is my caveat.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So what are you playing now?
Right now, I'm catching up. So like, I just finished Doom I think last month, which is obviously cool. And right now, the newest one.
It just came out. That's really good.
Yeah, really good. Changed my life. I think.
Was it chainsaw people that have to change their life,
or was it jumping and switching?
I think it was kind of both because I'm one of those people that I couldn't really get the shooting down because I'd be like looking at the floor or just kind of awkward, and that one kind of really forced me to like run and kill and.
So we've got this land party on Saturday.
Yeah.
It was a
Come join
storyline.
us.
Yeah, storyline of Doom. That's what makes it
Yeah.
good.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Where's your temporary badge? I'll put in your new law.
Yeah. By the way, if you're introducing tonight, please make sure that we get your picture before you leave.
And don't forget to see me to get a temporary badge.
Yeah. Chris Sousa.
Wait, you still haven't done this?
Sousa.
Wait,
What's that?
you're not a member?
You cleaned the lab.
I have a question. Is it Sousa or Sousa?
It's actually sound.
Well,
Wait.
we're asking you.
Portuguese.
Are you a musician?
Is the way I was talking about.
Fair enough.
What am I supposed to do?
Tell us about yourself and why you want to be a member of the lab, how you heard about us. That kind of stuff.
And definitely don't check out when we're streaming your butt.
That's actually better.
You realize the camera's on the chair behind.
What don't I like? I mean, what's not to like about everything? Like, I nerd out about knowledge. Like, if I can plug myself into the matrix, I want to know everything.
Have you talked to the BCI people yet?
Neuralink. One day. I'll sneak my way into there, hopefully. Started off in, I guess, school, engineering, physics. I'm a big physics nerd. I'm actually pretty excited. I had to drop out of school, long story, but anyway, all my physics nerd friends just moved into town. Actually, helped married couples they teach. That got me back into doing stuff already. Huge projects coming from me, from them. And putting that here, I'm pretty excited about potentially what's going on in the future. Man, this place, like the attitude, the people, the personal knowledge, like how can you not be off of that? So that's why I'm here. Very cool.
Questions for Chris?
Don't you have some shop equipment of your own?
Yeah, I actually have quite a bit. My dad was always a hands-on person that kind of rubbed off on me. So I've got a Cincinnati Toolmaster Bill, which I'm very proud of. That I picked up for it. Managed to steal it off of eBay for $500. It cost me more to ship it. I bid on it, thinking I would never get it. I was like on my way to work, whatever. Got back from work. So I had to ship that from California.
Oh no!
Which I managed to finagle to be only $600. So
Wow.
It was originally getting quoted around $2,000 to $3,000.
Wow.
So,
Okay, so this thing weighs like 2,000 pounds.
Late I found an
Mine was
OC
10. There's a difference.
for cheap as well. The guy was super cool. Fireman had it. Didn't know we really had. Been sitting in his garage forever. TIG welder. TIG stick. Well, yeah. I just started doing that the other day. Pretty happy about that. I have one at home, but I don't have a bottle yet. So, normal woodworking machine, the stuff that I like going to yard sales and finding really old tools. I think that's really cool. I'm really obsessed with like anything from like post-war, Cold War stuff that's been around for 50, 60 years and still just needs a little TLC to come back to life. I really like that. I've watched a lot of the metal drills that can shot. Yeah, no, I'm totally cool with that. Like if you tear off an arm, it's probably
Although I won't be running the belt sander racing, if you find a nice belt sander, you can race it down the belt sander track.
I actually, one of the things I want to build is an electric skateboard. That's going to be probably my first big project. Restoring tools. I love watching videos. Yes, sir.
Nick is actually planning on doing something like that to the scooter that he has. So your idea is not too far off.
What am I doing?
He's
doing everything too.
He wants to
So
motorize it. Well, he wants to make an electric skateboard or a motorized skateboard. So that's not
There
too
are
far
lots of
off.
people around here doing that.
Still,
I've bought tons of batteries, so if anybody needs some for such projects,
Give me
I'd
leaf
like
cells.
Huh?
Give me leaf cells.
No. Like I said, I will buy a wreck Tesla one of these days.
All right, other questions for Chris?
Anybody else not realize he actually had a first name?
What's your handle?
That's his name.
More than welcome to call me that, because I know there's quite a few Chris's, so. Make it easier.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you.
John, you're next. We have a John, Jason, and a Johnny this month.
Yeah. Use 1, 2, 3, it's done.
Okay, well, I'm John Schobert. We just moved to Carolina, our enrollment actually, just a few months ago from Omaha, Nebraska. In Omaha, Nebraska, they've got a thing called DoSpace, which is kind of a makerspace, a more computer area. Got a taste of using the laser cutter there. And we talked about getting into the 3D printing. And since I've gotten into all kinds of different science fiction fandoms, I need ways of making all the little toys from different fandoms.
Cool. Well, then what is your favorite fandom? Or some of them. Narrow it down to 2.
Narrow it down to 2.
Narrow it down to the one
Well,
you're making
I
box
am
with.
Darth Vader in the 501st.
Oh, okay.
I am a Klingon in the Klingon Assault Group. I'm John Pertwee with the Doctor Who.
Can you speak Klingon?
go back,
Good.
which is no.
Well, let me ask you this then. Let me narrow it down for you. What is the first prop or replica or item that you would look forward to most making from some fandom?
Well, I need to get a bunch of Meklas and Klingon daggers made up because there's a Klingon meeting in Indianapolis on Thanksgiving weekend that we're having.
Well, we do have a lot of knife makers and metal workers here.
Well, we're doing all of these out of wood,
Cool.
so that they're con safe.
Okay, so I was thinking hardened steel.
No. But continuing on that trend of thing, I've also got a collection of 6,800 titles of science fiction and fantasy books.
Oh,
Nice.
Wow.
So bookshelves sort of thing.
Nice. But that was a lot of fun to move.
Oh. I still have a closet full of books that are not unpacked.
Other questions for
Like the Doom series.
Yes. I've been on a couple of Jim panels already. We've taken it all the way through.
Wow.
Kevin and Brian's works.
So what science fiction wasn't your thing? Just wasn't something you enjoyed?
Pretty much the fantasy sides of it. Tolkien was good, but Martin is good.
If you ever finishes that stupid book.
He's not.
Which stupid book?
When's a winner? Yeah, still never happened.
He's also been working on the wild card.
Oh, I know. That's still never happened.
Actually, no, he's writing those out. He doesn't have right on.
So we have a laser cutter here that would probably be perfect for what you're trying to do with daggers and whatnot. But have you also thought of the plastics?
Yes.
That can also be done on the laser cutter.
I cut a bunch of acrylic pins out for cleaning pins, metal, ward metals, and things like that. So yeah, I've also cranked out using wood on the laser cutter. Set of Klingon Scrabble pieces, Klingon board and pieces, which is Klingon chess game. So.
It's more just to let you know, professionals can take the laser class if you need to take the class to like be certified on laser. So okay.
I have one more thing. All right, have you been introduced yet to the local 501?
Yes.
I am their Vader.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. I didn't know if you were the Vader for the local one or the.
Well, one of the Vaders anyway. I'll be at the Children's Hospital on Friday.
Are you going to be at Maker Fair?
I don't know. I need to think about signing up for, see if they've still got spots for.
Oh, they do.
You know. I'm thinking I got to get signed up for the Claremont Parade. I did the Claremont Parade last year.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, but yeah, and we also did Kagan Crossing Library last Saturday.
Nice.
So yeah.
Very cool.
It's nice when I can be there with the Kylo.
Yeah.
We've got pictures. If you want to Google it, there's a picture out there from the Central Garrison of their Kylo Ren sitting on a stuffed unicorn. Okay, I'm in Vader. I walked up behind him.
Sorry. Does anyone like Star Wars here?
Yeah.
Have we ever done Star Wars nights?
What's that? How good's your change?
All right. Any more questions for Doug?
Lousy.
Yeah.
I do have an MP3 player for the breathing.
Last question.
I have many more questions, which I will ask you later. However, do you have any interest in coming for board game nights?
Not a lot. We're not really much into games. You know, try to make an effort.
Cool. We'd love to have you.
All right. Thank you, John.
Okay, thanks.
Jason. That's Zerka. That's not Jason.
That's Jason. Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Ross. I live here in Longwood. I had a business here for about 14 years. It's a marketing studio kind of thing. I heard about the FamiLAB from my friend and associate Ryan there. He and I have a separate business where we invent things. We have 2 board games that we worked on, mainly one he made. That's amazing. That I'm sure we'd love to play. One of the things that I really thought would be interesting about joining the lab is there's a lot of stuff that goes on here that is invention based, and you know, you can, like, I have a couple things that I'm already like, well, this is exactly where I can make this. And the other thing is a lot of people, I think, come for the equipment and that kind of thing. But like, I feel like one of the things that I think is the most interesting here is the people. They're, you know, listening to you talk about your jerky, like, we should talk. Just there's some stuff I'd like to tell you about. But I feel like networking is a really great thing from learning, from potentially finding somebody to help you with your project, or you might have something for them that is really awesome. So I wanted to join because I felt like I might be able to bring some work to here and meet some great people and create some cool stuff.
Awesome.
Questions for Jason?
Would I teach marketing class?
I could do that. I would, you know, I mean, I have a little knowledge on that. Also, I do want to say, I came last Tuesday and we took out the garbage. You know, from running a business, I understand what it takes to run this. If you talk about the electric and everything, I have a pretty interesting facility that Ryan and I work at that would love to have. It's right down the street. Everybody is more welcome to come check it out. But there's a lot of neat things that I've seen just from the times that I've already been here, and I've seen a few guys before. But I would love to be a part where we could actually do that. I'd love to come to game night because I think you guys would like a couple of games that we have been working on. But you know, I'm interested to see what could come out of this. There's a lot of smart people here, so. Yes.
What is your favorite board game whose company has gone out of business?
Oh.
That's a long list.
Wow. What's the one that the Dirty Apples to Apples? Yeah, they went out of business, didn't they?
Oh, they're still around.
Well, then I don't have one. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that, but I do love every board game. Just learned a new one this weekend with dice and horses and those little horses that move. And you play with quarters. It was fun. So don't play any games with me for money. Just
Or do.
Yeah. Or yeah. You know what? Actually, you're right. But we have some cool games to bring by some time to play. But also potentially have some equipment that would want to leave here too, because I think it would be best served here with everybody. I love to see what people make out of things. So
awesome. Thank you. One more question? No? Okay. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, we had so many days. I'm like, it's gonna get worse. I think you're the only Johnny though. Yes.
Here's Johnny.
Have you ever heard that one before?
All the time.
Okay. Tell us about yourself. What you're here, what you want to do, what you want to make.
This is kind of like AA. You just tell us about yourself.
Well, you want us to know.
Hey, let him talk, guys.
My name is Johnny. I prefer to use the networking machine, but I'm actually like, what's the word? I like him. I just kind of like to go into all the different disciplines. I had a conversation with him earlier about you're talking about DNA and the CRISPR process and things like that. I had a conversation with him about it. I just like all of science for the most part.
Jack of all
Pretty much, yeah. And so last year, actually, I invented a device that lets you jumpstart your car using your car's dead battery. I was going to start a business with that, but it turned out that a team of scientists in France patented their device 6 months prior to me patenting my device. Yeah, so like I searched all the USPTO, but I didn't check PTO yet. And so that was that. But right now, I'm working on starting like a virtual reality arcade type thing.
Oh, snap.
And it's also going to like incorporate augmented reality. Once that's up and running. That's pretty much it.
Questions for John?
Did you know we're trying to crowdfund a 5?
Here? No.
There's still money in that account.
There is indeed. We're short $300-400.
Yeah, because we had to
Plus computer.
Plus computer. We had to go up to the commercial version since our
But we
use
had
had
that
that.
on the for a while still.
Not here.
What kind of immersive experiences did you want to have? Like, were you going to show films? Were they going to be games? Like,
It was
what?
going to be everything. I don't know how familiar everybody is with virtual reality at the moment, but they have these suits that lets you experience whatever environment you are in the game. They also have treadmills so you can run in place and all that. So we're going to just offer everything for the most part. Yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be amazing. But
That sounds
I want to play Call of Duty. But, any other
I saw a question back there somewhere.
Yeah.
At my shop, we actually have a virtual vibe set up for people to use and whatnot at my repair shop. And you're welcome to stop by and hopefully maybe improve upon it.
Well, I'll definitely check it out.
One more? You have your hand up?
Yes.
What do you want to build first?
I actually have. I'm exploring, like I was talking to him about particle wave duality being like under scrutiny right now, and I had an idea that I wanted to just test out. It involves using electromagnetism to kind of vibrate reality, but you know that's the only thing.
It's actually what I'm doing computational physics on that. They have really, they used to have one of the fastest lasers in the world.
Yeah.
And actually,
have you
it's a
got
long
used to
story.
it?
I'm just gonna say it basically shifts things to where they have quantum effects normally wouldn't have.
Sounds like you guys should talk.
Yeah.
Sounds like you guys should have a conversation.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting. So.
Cool.
I don't know. Will you be willing to teach a class on how to patent something?
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, that would be nice with that. Will you?
So we'll have you and Asia team up and do a how to start a business, how to patent a class, and
Actually, I have a friend. Oh, I've got friends who came over a couple times. He's a patent agent, so he's the perfect person.
we'll have a panel, a patent panel.
That'd be fun. You need like 3 more words to start with P to make it a learn. Work on that.
Please. Process.
Yeah. Ooh.
So,
The power of people who help patent.
We're getting off the
Thanks,
subject.
Johnny. Dana, are you still in here somewhere? Oh, you're hiding in the back.
It's a safe place to be. Because something will be cabinet, every 30 seconds, and cabinet call.
So you don't use a couple minutes and put a rubber wheels and higher again.
Hi, Dana.
Hi.
Yeah, shoot. Last but certainly not least. You know the drill by now, right?
Yeah, I've always been interested in robots my whole life. I read Robert Heinlein when I was a kid about everything he wrote. Let's see. I worked in a factory, worked in vertical machining centers for many years. I ran a CNC Octo, a punch with auto indexing full time for 4 years of building custom restaurant equipment, and mostly things out of stamps. I got hired for 6 years, Lockheed Space Operations. I worked at the Kennedy Space Center building and repairing launch equipment. And when I left there, I went to school at SCC and learned how to weld. I did full-time welding. Did a lot of welding for a safe company down the street. I welded the entire base section for B9 robot. It's a lost in space robot. For $1,100, I made the whole bottom section.
Nice.
Back in the late 90s. I joined the R2 club. I have a couple of R2 domes. And a lot of the things towards building an R2, or several. Had my own shop in Sanford back in 2007. Had a CNC mill, 8-foot press brake. I still have the press brake and 8-foot shear, Cincinnati shear up at my farm up north. And I sold a lot of my stuff, mostly to do with keeping my farm up north. And that's why this is particularly appealing to me. I thought I'd have to spend pretty much the next 2 years getting to the point where I could just go ahead and buy the kind of equipment that I used to have. So you have any questions?
Yay for more space welders.
What's that?
It's like yay for more space welders.
Oh yeah, I like to weld.
Well,
I've two of
Jamie,
you now.
Jamie's certified for welding in space.
No.
So soldering in space.
Soldering in space.
Soldering in space.
Welding
Sorry.
in general. Although I would really love to watch that.
The Russians tried it.
I know.
The Russians tried welding in
I know.
space. That was a really bad idea.
It's just two clean surfaces and they just weld them.
Yes.
That
Which
yeah.
we also
way
found that
to do
out
it.
was also a very bad idea. Like, we find those out at the worst time. Like, you can't close the hatch. Well, that
If you're
sucks.
welding in space, do you need inner gas if you're actually welding in space?
No.
No.
That's nice.
They cold weld because the surface gets
Well, yeah,
oxidation,
yeah, but
so
if you weren't cold welding,
We can discuss this later in depth.
You just
Would,
get
would,
lots of vodka.
would it just be?
That's all of the vodka.
Guys, this is about her.
Tell us what the first thing you want to make here is, since you've made everything.
Hand, very much.
Oh,
super
snap,
cool.
that's so rad. I want to make a high-fiving robot. I'm going to call it the affirmation bot, so when you give it a high five, it's going to say something positive. Like, you're doing great.
I have a 6 Dynamixel servos and
Whoa.
I very much want to put them to use. I've always kind of leaned towards remote presence. I'd always wish there was more concentration in that than the independent robots, because I think that a person could remotely do an awful lot of things, and I think they should. But I think that too much from the highest level comes from not needing people and not needing to pay people. But I'm always an advocate for people being part of it.
I'm going to extend on my question just a little bit. I'm sorry for everyone else. What are you going to exhibit at Maker Fair?
I'm right now trying to finish fixing this car so I can get a different car and go to my farm, and I'll probably go on.
Okay, all right.
I was just going to ask because you'll be eating more also.
Well, there's a lot of Star Trek people with red shirt, but
There's a question behind you, Chris, as well.
Yeah, I was just wondering what do you grow on your farm?
Oh, well, there's nothing growing here right now. It was a 150-acre farm overlooking Seneca Lake, and my family wanted out except for me, so I wound up with 30 acres and a little piece of lakefront, and then about 7 miles away, I have a little rundown house. So I just struggle to keep them going and pay taxes right now, but I have a lot of plans. It's kind of, my idea is to be a snowbird, to go up about April 1st for 6 months and then come back here.
Oh, yeah.
The heat is just too much for me in the middle.
Have you considered growing catnip?
There's a story that goes with
Yeah,
that.
see one of his
I did try to built a geodesic greenhouse with a 12-foot diameter, just a little one, and I built a prototype for that up there. Pictures of it.
If you want to grow catnip or mushrooms, talk to the bio guys.
Okay, I don't know a lot about that.
They do.
I did. Last year, I built a land speeder onto my motorcycle. Pictures of that. My rocket engines have piano hinges on them, and the lights built into them, and there's a rocket engine up
Like
here.
I said, answer to my question is yes, you could be. Every time I talk.
The answer to his question, yes, she can be cool.
Yeah. What? One more question, but you know the answer's gonna be awesome. So, one more question. Eric, all right.
We have a CNC machine that we've been constantly saying that we're upgrading it or saying that we're fixing it.
The router.
The router. Is it router, not CNC machine?
CNC router.
CNC router.
There's a difference between router and
My bad. No, not that one. The wood one.
Yeah.
You of course know the ins and outs of CNC router.
Not building them from scratch.
Yeah.
Most of my life, I've been a machine operator, and I've helped people when they came. We needed work done when they helped them. My own CNC was a nightmare for me because it wound up in my barn for a few years and brought down, and I had pulled the watch battery out of the motherboard for the computer because that was the first thing that came when I tried to start it up and said that battery was dead for the CMOS. And I put my hand in it to catch it, and I didn't quite catch it, and it fell down, and I kept going. But what happened was I wound up replacing the computer 3 times, 3 different computers.
No.
And after a long time, I found out that the company that made that, the PLC controller, actually worked on the control, and they did component level fixes on it. But it was basically a $500 send away. And but I had found when I went to take the controller out to send it to him, I found the watch battery lodged on the back of the board. You don't know how many hours I spent. And but the good side of it was that I kept studying all this mystery components all throughout the machine and reading and going on forums, and that helped me learn a lot. But I got it fixed.
You are awesome, gal.
All right, thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a number of people to vote on tonight. That's our last perspective. If, as I read your name, if you are here, stand up, wave, and walk out. Eddie Diaz. He's not here. Eddie is not here. Alexander Atlan. And George Atlan. You guys are both here. No? Altman, I'm sorry. I can't read. I told you my eyes are going bad.
I'm just follow Dana. You look pretty shabby compared to still that's okay.
Is it Fico? Oh, Fico, right? Alex Robinson. Ryan George. Cool. And we'll holler at you in just a minute.
You guys want to meet There's a write-in.
There's a write-in. I'm sorry, I forgot to put you on there.
I made sure.
So yes. I'm gonna add you to the list real quick here. Yeah, Tim, if you just want to just step outside for a minute, we're going to add you to the ballot. So once everyone gets their yeah, I'll give you the information. For waiver, when this is Tim, hi Tim. Hi Tim. So you can write on the bottom, just write Tim. That's fine. We only have one Tim on the list today. It happens every meeting. We miss somebody. Is that everybody? Yes. So we can close the door. Everybody can just step inside just for a second. So we can close the door. Next slide.
All right, let me pause this.
No, anyone who's not being voted on. Okay.
You should.
You should. We're gonna restart the meeting.
Now.
We've restarted.
Yeah.
Cool. Again, if you haven't signed up for Maker Faire on volunteer shift, and you can, please do. If you think you might have something that may be worthy of exhibiting at Maker Faire, please sign up and put it in there. Even if it's only like partially done or like it's under progress or whatever, add it into the list because that's what they want.
And projects in progress are cool. They're
Yes,
fun.
they are.
People like to see those.
Tim had one last thing, and Eric had one for official business.
Mine is just, I am looking for critiques on my scripts, so if anybody wants to tell me where I can improve. You don't know how nervous I was up there.
I brought a Raspberry Pi with a RetroPie emulation system for old classical games, and I was planning on maybe setting it up on the projector here and let people play if they want old Atari games and all this sort of jazz. Would anyone be interested in giving that a shot?
Okay. All right. Cool. Meeting adjourned.
Wait, one more.
Yes. Official.
So my work has generously allowed me to generate some old pallet racks. You might have seen in Slack earlier. Does anybody have a truck big enough to transport these things and will help me disassemble?
How big are they in pieces?
Yes, I do. Standard 8-foot span?
Yeah, I've got a full size truck.
Yeah, so I'll talk to you about maybe the time to.
Lily's on the other one with the truck. She's very happy. All right, thank you all. Have fun. Go forth and make things. Cool.
Bam!
Everyone who is new, let me take pictures real quick of you.